Good morning. It's Friday, February 19th, and today I want to tell you about the 7 minutes of terror. Imagine, if you can, working on a project for over 10 years, a project whose success depends upon the final 7 minutes of phase 1. The 7 minutes of terror. This project has gone along very quietly for 10 years. It's the work of NASA. Hundreds of people have spent those 10 years developing NASA's most advanced robotic explorer yet. The rover is called Perseverance. And you can guess why. 10 years worth of work. Name even seems more appropriate now because the final stages of work had to be finished during the pandemic. Perseverance is carrying a tribute to healthcare workers around the world. A 3 by 5 inch aluminum plate installed on the left side of the chassis. It shows the Earth supported by the ancient symbol of the serpent entwined around a rod that represents the global medical community. A line around the Earth indicates the trajectory of the flight from Central Florida to Mars, according to NASA. Now, if you look at my shirt, I'm wearing the symbol. The creators of Perseverance wanted to demonstrate their appreciation for those who have put personal well-being on the line for the good of others. They hope when future generations travel to Mars and find our rover, they will be reminded that back on Earth in the year 2020, there was such people that thought about the well-being of others. The rover is also carrying the names of 11 million people etched on 3 silicon chips. She is to be considered a robotic scientist exploring Mars on behalf of humanity. She will be able to share what she sees and hears through 23 cameras, including video and 2 microphones. Do you think when the Martians see her, they will welcome her? Who knows? Who knows? Another first will be the helicopter that it's carrying. This will be the first helicopter to fly on another planet. Now, when you think about it, missions like this begin with the science. Percy, as they call her, was designed to focus on investigating potentially habitable places on Mars that could have supported ancient life, as well as exploring the geological and climate history of the planet. And who knows, there may still be life on Mars. We hope we'll find out. There is a time difference on Mars. So Percy, on her own during the 7 minutes of terror, had to plunge into the Mars's atmosphere at 12,000 miles an hour and had to slow down. She used parachutes and retro rockets and landed safely at 0 miles per hour. But she wasn't done yet. She had to relay data back to the folks at home through the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, and then she will begin her journey exploring the Jezero crater for the next 2 years. Now, Perseverance is very autonomous, but she still needs to talk to her teams on Earth. So before driving around Mars and shooting lasers at rocks and collecting samples, which she will send to her members, to her team members across the globe, and many of them will have to transition to Mars time. That means beginning their days at 2 p.m. and working later into the night. Because I said before, the Mars days are 40 minutes longer than the Earth days. So it ought to be an exciting adventure for these people who had to survive the 7 minutes of terror. Could you imagine putting in 10 years of work and in 7 minutes all your work is destroyed? Well, fortunately, it didn't happen. So now we have another mission that's ongoing. It'll be at least 2 years of data collection from Percy on Mars. It ought to be very interesting to see what she finds. I'm really surprised that we didn't make a bigger deal out of this. But then space seems to have fallen by the wayside. But this team has done an amazing job, particularly when they were able to launch in July in the middle of the pandemic. So it's going to be an amazing mission between the scientific knowledge we gather and the technology that will demonstrate to the world that we are still around. And then there is a mission planned for 2026. They're going back to Mars. They're calling it the Sample Return Mission. Well, if they leave in 2026, they might get there. I don't know when. But they're planning to return samples sometime in the early 2030s. Now, it's amazing that NASA has been sending missions to explore Mars since 1965. At that point, they were sharing images and knowledges gained about the red planet. But it has a mysterious history, and we're not satisfied that we know everything. And I'm sure that everything is a long way off. Mars is the most Earth-like planet in the solar system. So it's really intriguing to study the geological and climate history of the planet and figure out how it evolved. So that's a story for today, an amazing story, a story of explorers and the diligence and dedication of people. And of course, I'm amazed by the robotics involved. So in any event, that's all I can tell you right now. And hopefully we'll have more good news from the red planet. So I'll say goodbye and I'll see you in the morning. Bye.
Has to turn to an entry attitude, turning the heat shield to enter the atmosphere safely. Once we're inside the atmosphere, the goal is to slow down, which isn't easy in a thin atmosphere. Automated programming prepares for the jettison of the heat shield. Then the parachute is deployed. This slows things down a lot more. The heat shield is released. The surface of Mars is approaching quickly. Then the back shell and parachute is jettisoned, and retro rockets fire. Our descent has now slowed to a manageable speed. The camera searches for the correct place to touch down. Once ready, the sky crane activates, lowering the rover to the ground. Once sensors indicate that the rover is safely on the surface, the descent stage separates and does a flyaway, crash landing far away from the rover. And here we are on Mars.